What's up, good people? Welcome back to One Off Builds. This is the first installment of my series showing you the porch enclosure on the back of my house. I've been needing a place to work, so this porch enclosure should work perfectly. It adds a little more than 100 square feet on my house and will double as a work studio and a play area for the kids. In this video, I'll explain my plan, go over some materials, and begin framing. I really enjoyed this project and love how it turned out. Check out the other videos in the series to see my progress and finished product. Check me out.
Step one is just framing out the entire opening. So we'll have to frame out top to bottom right here, and we'll have to frame out this side of the door over here, and we'll have to put in some type of header, small header, nothing too serious. The reason we have to put an additional frame, piece of frame here where this 4x4 is because it's too far inset. It doesn't line up with the edge of the concrete here or the edge of the concrete here. It would be fine if I just put another support here, but as you can see, we would be outside of the porch enclosure. So just to bring everything inside the porch enclosure, I'll put another 4x4 here and marry it up against this 4x4, and then on the other side I'll either put a 2x4, but likely a 4x4, just to frame that side out, and then we'll have a good solid frame for our doors to hang on. These are the only places where doors are going to go. The rest of the wall will be doors, but they won't open. They'll be solid. A quarter. Then we'll shave off if we need to. This existing 4x4 and this should marry up snug, very snug. So we'll just notch this and then marry them up. Throw a few lags in each side, lag here, all the way up the beam. Now we'll have to put another 4x4 from this side. We'll have to put the same on the opposite side and figure out what our distance is between here so we can figure out which doors are best to use. I have 7, 9 different doors that I can use, and so we have to pick the best ones to fit the opening. Maybe we'll have to do some skirting over to the right, skirting over to the left. We might have to put something in the middle here for the doors to butt up against, but that'll come in time. And just because we put a beam on this side and we have exact measurements of 85 inches, don't assume that the other side is the same. Could be a quarter of an inch difference depending on whoever built the house. These houses are old, so always measure both sides of anything you're doing. Never assume that they're both the same. And they're not. They're way off. This side is closer to 83 3/4 about, and the other side was 85. So that tells you that there's a slope going from 83 up to 85 that direction. Even though there's a slope on the house going down, the slope underneath this pitch is going up. So just always keep that in mind when you're building stuff, because people don't build stuff exact. Now we just need to throw some legs, maybe 4, middle, top, quarter, bottom. Now these are some of the doors that I have staged over here. And of those, I have to pick the best 2 to fit each panel that I'm doing. I'll show you the panels later. Well, there's the 2 doors that we're framing out now. Then there's 2 more double door sets, and then there'll be a single door at the end by the water heater. The water heater is not going to allow for an additional door to be put there, but I'm going to have to either put the water heater down on a pad, or I'll have to just scoot it over and provide some additional restraints so that it doesn't fall over. So now we have to figure out what our opening is from this beam here all the way over to that other beam there, inside to inside. That opening is about 58 3/4, maybe just shy of 58 3/4. So we'll have to find 2 doors that basically match that size. I'm going to measure all of the opening sizes, all of the finish sizes, and make sure that I'm picking the right doors for the right spots. I don't know if you can really see, but this is one panel here, and then this is separating where the 2 doors will go. Then there's another panel from this to that post there. So this is the second panel. So I have 2 doors on the opposite side that will have hinges and open. Then on this side, I'll have 2 doors. That middle panel, I have 2 doors. And then you see right there by the water heater, the opening's much smaller. I'll have to move the water heater over to the left, and I'll put 1 door there. And to close the room off, I'll put a board or something on the other side, put something decorative to make it look finished, so that whoever's looking out that window, if there was one there, wouldn't just be looking directly at a water heater. Check that out, Crayola. Kids Crayola box coming in handy. I can just mark each section on the ground, the size, and then when I go measure the doors, I'll have an idea of what to put where. We have about 58 3/4 here. $58 3/4 there. Measure this opening here. Well, because I haven't butt up that 4x4 yet, I don't know the exact measurement, but I'll just guesstimate at 63 and a half. We'll measure some of the doors and see what we come up with for sizing. This door here I picked up out of the trash off of Craigslist, and I think these 2 came from my boy Mark Mark brought me some doors and asked me would I want to have them, and I didn't know what I was going to do with them, but I said sure, because can't hurt nothing. So it just worked out where I had 3 doors that I had already, and then the other 2, since I had the 3, I came up with 4 more. I purchased them off of OfferUp. So this being the only single and being at 36, this door is our 4 door. So this 36 on the ground, I already got it lined up, is the 4 door. Now the next set is 71 or 63 and a half or 58 and 3/4. So now I have to figure out which doors match up best for those sizing. These doors are about close to 67 and a half. So definitely too big for my front opening, and also too big for our middle far side opening, but they do work for the 71 and a half, 71. Little small, but we'll figure out the framing. So these 2, because of the size, we'll just put 71 on them. Put 71, so we kind of know where they're gonna go. On this one, I'll put 36 because I know it's going to be the single door on the other side. Now for the last 2 doors, our last 2 sets of doors, I have 63 and a half and 58 and 3/4. So these are close to 56. Close to 56. So those 2 measure out to close to 56. So depending on what the other sizing is, 56 is close enough to 58 and 3/4. And the last set looks to be, it's the 63 and a half. Let's see what we got here. These look close to 60. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and put these at the 63 and a half. Can't even see that. And then the last 2 I said were about 56, so we'll put that at the 58 and 3/4. 58 and 3/4. So that didn't work out too bad. I hadn't planned it. I didn't know what the sizings were, but if they didn't fit, or if I had to move the current post, I was willing to do that as well. So, but it kind of worked out to where each of the posts could house the doors. I'm gonna have to do some retrofitting to make them really fit well, but I mean, no big deal. I got them for 3 of them for free, 1 set for 100, and the other set for 60. So I'm only 160 in on the doors. As far as the framing and the wood material, picked that up from Home Depot for about 300. I'm sure I'm not finished with the room yet, but I'm not in for definitely not in for over 500. maybe 400 at this point, depending on what materials that I bought I actually have to use or actually have to keep. So we'll see. Now we just need to do the last of the framing for the verticals, minus the far side where the single door is going to go. We just have to finish the last two pieces of framing here. Then we'll work on the framing for the bottom, where we'll put in some concrete anchor bolts. I don't know where they are, but we'll concrete anchor bolts to the bottom. We'll drop some 4x4s on the bottom, some foam liner, weatherproofing, and then we'll start dropping doors in. So now we're just going to notch this out right here. Don't have to be too much. Notch this portion out here. That way the entire thing sits flush. And we'll go from there. Look what I found, a pencil. You know how hard it is to keep up with pencils?
In the next video, I'll continue framing and start installing doors. Thanks for tuning in to One Off Builds.